Hello everyone, my name is Spooky, and today we are going to be looking at the brand new hero Mauga, who has been released by Blizzard into the training range for one day only. We're going to be looking at his abilities, what they do, how to use them, and some ways you can use them that are not fully intended by Blizzard. If you're keen, get hyped. Without further ado, let's jump into it. So, before we get out into the training range, we're actually going to go through his abilities here in the spawn room on the F1 menu, just to see what his abilities actually do. So you'll see his two weapons there are two machine guns, one in his left hand and one in his right hand. So his left weapon will deal damage but also ignite enemies on repeated impact. You'll then have his right weapon, which will then deal more damage to those enemies that are burning. I'm not sure if this will also pertain to enemies affected by Ash's dynamite. However, the fact that it just says damage to burning enemies leads me to think that Ash and Mauga will be a pretty good combo if you can hit enemies with the dynamite and then lay them down with Mauga's right machine gun. Now, his abilities. His shift is called Overrun, and it is a charge attack that displaces enemies, followed by a jump and ground slam that will displace and damage enemies. His next ability is Cardiac Overdrive, in which all nearby allies will take reduced damage and heal by dealing damage. So it's similar to Junker Queen's Shout, however there is a significant difference, and I'm really keen to show you all because I really like it. We then have his two passives, which is Berserker and just his role as tank. His Berserker passive being he'll gain temporary health when dealing critical damage. Once again, I really like that. I'll show you guys that in a minute. But then his role tank passive is just, we all know what that one is. We then have his ultimate, which is Cage Fight, which is where you'll deploy a barrier that traps yourself and all enemies inside of it. You have unlimited ammo and you just fight them all, lay down rounds with no thought of conserving ammo. Alright, so the first thing we're going to go on with is his hero passive, which is Berserker. Now, his hero passive means that he will gain temporary overhealth, which you can see ticking down in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, every time he deals critical damage. So we'll let that just tick down now, and then once that goes away, we will kill this bot by only doing critical damage. So as you can see, I gained 78 overhealth, and that will last for about 3 seconds before it slowly starts to tick down, similar to Lucio's beat overhealth. So now we'll go to our willing participant, Roadhog, and just lay down some rounds into his face, and you'll see there 650. So that's the maximum health you can get, and then it'll start to tick down once again after 3 seconds. And if you want to maintain that level of health, you have to keep doing damage, critical damage to be exact. Now we're going to come down here and talk about his weapons. Alright, so as I said before, his weapons are a dual machine gun combo. So in his left hand fires his incendiary bullets, and right hand fires the damage dealing bullets. Now, when you hold either left or right click, there'll be a very short warm up before it begin to fire. You'll also see down in the bottom right hand corner is the ammo pool. So he has 300 ammo that is shared between both guns. So it's not a case of the ammo is split 50-50. It's a case of you can lay down 300 rounds with this gun or 300 with this gun. Doesn't really matter. You'll have 300 bullets either way. Now, if you're firing with just one gun, you'll have a fall off range of about 27 meters. So once you hit around 27 meters, the effectiveness will start to decline more and more. But you'll still do that burn damage, which is wonderful.
Should have stayed home.
But the cool thing is if you're really up close to your enemies, or you have a big target like Roadhog up there, and you want to just absolutely nail them with as much damage as possible, you can hold down both your mouse buttons, so both left and right mouse button, and fire both at once. Now this is really handy, however it's only useful at very close quarters. So at around 15 meters is the fall off range for like the effectiveness of this weapon. So you'll see the damage starts to slow down a little bit, but also keep in mind that when you are using both his weapons at once, you'll still light them on fire because you're still hitting them with these bullets. Alright, next up is his shift ability, Overrun. So we'll just do a quick demo for you now.
Gonna catch ya.
So how it works is you'll charge forward for about 28 meters, and during that charge you will knock enemies out the way and they will take around 20 damage. Now if you want to end the charge sooner, you'll just press space and you'll immediately go into that jump and ground slam. Now at the end of the charge, as you saw at the 28 meter mark, you'll jump for about 7 meters to 35 and slam the ground, doing an AoE damage to all nearby enemies while also displacing them. So if you hit them right in the center, so if I was to land right here, I would do 80 damage to this spot. However, the damage numbers will shrink the further away from the center they are. This ability is on a 6-second cooldown, so you can use it fairly often. Alright, so for his E ability, Cardiac Overdrive. Now the ability allows all nearby allies to take less damage and also heal while doing damage. Now we're going to actually show you the ability starting back here, because this is what I really like about it. Now, we start it, you'll see a little circle around, and as soon as allies are taken into the circle, they start to receive the effect. And once the ability recharges, I'll show you that once they leave the circle, they will still be affected for a little bit longer. The effect won't last on them fully, however, it will last for around a second and a half. So if we activate it,
let's make a scene.
Dip the bot in it, you can see he was still affected for around a second before it was then taken away, and then I lost the ability as well. So I really like this, as it means you don't have to ensure all your allies are near you in order to use the ability. You can hit the ability, and then if you've missed someone, just walk closer to them and suddenly they'll also get the effects. It lasts for 5 seconds and then will be on a 10-second cooldown. Alright, and finally we have his ultimate, Cage Fight. Honestly, one of my favorite abilities of his kit, and possibly up there with my favorite ultimates for tanks. I think it's so useful. It's cool in its concept, but also it has some other, you can use it in different ways, not just how it's fully intended. So, first of all, a demo. So this is an enemy right here. We don't like him. We can now trap him. Now you'll see chains for myself and these two enemies. So they are trapped. They cannot leave the circle even if they wanted to. So even if Old Mate had moved, he would have just walked across and hit the edge of the barrier. The chain would have stopped him walking any further. Alright, now we'll go on to the numbers. So the cage itself is around 12 meters in diameter, which means you can catch a decent amount of enemies in your cage. Also, something that you would have seen only briefly, so I'll highlight it better just now, is if I this down, you'll see enemies who walk into the cage will then be caught. So you don't need to just catch enemies and then that's it, that's all you've caught. If you put it down into a choke, if enemies want to pass through the choke, they'll have to go through your cage and then be detained, which I really like. Now, allies will not be detained. They can walk in and out of the cage however they please. It won't have any effect on them. Now, the best thing about this cage is it doesn't have to just be a cage. You can use it like a turret. So one other thing that is very useful with the cage is that you and only Mauga will get unlimited ammo. So this is useful in the cage match, yes. However, if you don't want to use it as simply a cage fighting tool, you can use it, as I said, like a turret. If we jump back to here and grab our ultimate, we come out here, pick a good little sight line that has lots of enemies able to be seen, throw down the ult. Now they aren't going to come in most likely, but we can fire bullets out of the cage and still have unlimited ammo. So that's where you can play it similar to Baptiste ult, where you can place it at a vantage point, lay down some rounds on the enemies even if they aren't in the cage. Now, some quick facts about the ultimate. So, as you saw, bullets can pass out of the cage, but bullets cannot pass into the cage. So, it acts as a bit of a shield, which means if you want to just throw it down here, you are fully safe to not be shot, but you can shoot back, no problems. It's very useful. I like it quite a bit. And also you saw that if you want to cancel your ult early, just hit Q and the whole thing will disappear. Now, what are my thoughts for this character? I really like him. I honestly probably couldn't tell you whether he'll be too overpowered or not powered enough when he first enters comp and unranked, just because also I don't know what changes they'll make to him. I think as of right now he's good the way he is. However, his ult feels a bit too overpowered, and I think Blizzard will likely want to remove the ability to just form yourself into a big turret. I think they'll get rid of the ability for bullets to leave the thing, so that way when you're using the ability, it's strictly that, a cage fight. You're not trying to just turret yourself up to lay down rounds outside at enemies outside of the cage. Will that make the ult a bit more useless if you don't catch anyone? Yes, however, I think that while having the ability to use your ult in multiple different ways is good, I think if you want to have it like a cage fight, have it like a cage fight. Now, I think his shift and E are perfect how they are. I don't think they need any changes. His E I really do like, and I do think they should take some inspiration from this character and apply it to other characters like Junker Queen. I think she would really benefit from having her shout effect be able to take on allies for the entire duration of the ability. However, I do see why that's not the case. Obviously, it's a shout. It's not a long-lasting ability. However, all that to say, I really like this new character. I think he's going to work well within the new roster of tanks. Hopefully, as we go on into later seasons, Overwatch and Blizzard become more tank friendly and it's not as soul crushing to be a tank, but we'll see how that goes from there. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please feel free to hit that like button. Also, I'm going to be doing some more videos now. I've come back from my holiday in Germany and I'm feeling a lot more invigorated and ready to make videos, edit videos, and I think I'm going to be putting some more Overwatch content on this channel as well. So if you want to see that, feel free to hit the subscribe button, and I will see all of you spooky little ghosts in the next video. Bye bye.
It's been a pleasure.